For over 100 years, the Butler County Humane Society has cared for and placed into loving homes the area's abused, neglected, and abandoned animals. Our No-Kill initiative was started in 2000 with a commitment of the board, our staff, and our community. As we are a non-profit, non-tax supported facility, the BCHS is dependent on private donations for survival. We hope you enjoy this episode of Critter Corner and bring your entire family to visit us here at the Butler County Humane Society.
Found wandering as a stray, 2-year-old Copper was rather exhausted when he was picked up. However, after a night of rest, it was obvious that this big boy has plenty of energy to go around. While not one to get too crazy while playing, his large size can be a lot to handle when he gets excited. And he can show a lot of interest in certain toys, causing him to get on the rambunctious side. Due to this, he would do better with older kids that can handle his size. Copper would do best in a home without cats, but wouldn't mind sharing his humans with another dog. Very shy upon arrival, 3-year-old Anya took some time to adjust to life at the shelter. However, she has made great strides coming out of her shell and showing more and more of her personality to staff. Instead of hiding, she now loves to sit up on the cat tree in her room and look out the window. While she doesn't enjoy being picked up and held for long, she loves to be pet and pampered. Due to her preference to have all 4 paws on the ground, older or calmer kids would be best. Hawk was transferred from an overcrowded shelter in West Virginia. At 4 years old, he is still a lively boy that enjoys anything active, running, romping, and playing with people and other animals. He does have a calmer, affectionate side too. A typical happy hound, he enjoys ear massages and belly rubs while lounging in the shade or social areas. Due to his overall demeanor, Hawk would fit in well in most homes with or without other dogs and kids. But he would need a cat that wouldn't mind his playful attitude. Found as a stray, 6-year-old Buttons is enjoying life at the shelter since she's a laid-back girl that likes to explore. Curious, she's always seen peeking through the picture window so she can see what's going on just beyond the room, and she actively watches the birds outside as they come and go from the bird feeders near the building. However, as far as her curiosity goes, she prefers the pampered life of socialization room, where she gets petted and loved as often as she wants. Buttons would do well with older kids and some dogs, but would prefer to be the only cat. Though her previous owners had 6-year-old Trixie for over a year, they had to make the tough decision to surrender her when she and another dog in the household were no longer getting along. However, she was continuing to do fine with other animals in the home, meaning that she still has the potential to live with other pets. Overall a sweet girl, Trixie enjoys the company of people of all ages, especially if they're willing to play with her or take her on walks. Due to her great disposition, Trixie has the potential to do well in most homes. At 9 years old, Gershwin is a laid-back boy who enjoys the finer things in life, like a relaxing afternoon watching the world go by out the window, or a short snooze in a patch of sunshine. He also enjoys a nice grooming session, being brushed from head to tail, or giving himself a manicure by scratching on the cardboard scratching posts. Although he's fine around most kids, he would do best in a home without other pets. While Oakley can appear to be a lot to handle while in his kennel, putting on a strong, tough guy act, he can be a completely different dog when out of his cage. Admittedly, he is slow to warm up to new people, but once comfortable with you, he's a real Casanova. He's also on the spunky side, enjoying leash walks, playing with toys, and romping around with some of the other dogs in the fenced-in yards. However, due to him being initially shy, he would do best in a home without kids or cats, as he can get too overzealous with them. Are you interested in joining the Butler County Humane Society's volunteer team? Anyone who is 8 years of age or older may volunteer. There are many different ways to volunteer, from socializing with cats and dogs, volunteering at events, lending a hand around the shelter, organizing donation drives, and many more. Visit butlercountyhs.org to sign up for a volunteer orientation at the Butler County Humane Society. After having to fend for himself as a stray, 1-year-old Wendall was understandably uncertain of new people when he first arrived at the shelter. Although still hesitant at times with unfamiliar faces, he's shown staff and volunteers his true personality: active, playful, and spunky. Wendall's most comfortable and shows himself off best when around other cats, as he loves to romp and wrestle with them. As long as he's allowed some time to adjust, Wendall could also do well with kids. A happy hound with a big, lovable smile, 4-year-old Wally was transferred to the shelter from another shelter that was overcrowded. Since arrival, he's been nothing but friendly with people of all ages, as well as other animals. However, he can start off on the shy side with other dogs, acting uncertain of what to do, but soon he's romping through the yards, playing to his heart's content. As for cats, they can still put Wally on edge, prompting some barking when they startle him. But he appears as though he could adjust well and settling into most home environments. Cute as a button, 3-year-old Kitty was found wandering as a stray. A laid-back girl overall, she settled into life at the shelter quickly and found her favorite spot to lounge, a comfy cat tree in the corner of the socialization room. From there, she surveys the space, watching the other cats that she's played with as they roam about. Sweet overall, enjoying to be pet, once Kitty finds a comfortable spot, she oftentimes prefers not to be moved, making her best suited for a home with older kids. Still coming out of his puppyhood state, 1.5-year-old Lucio was surrendered to the shelter when his family wasn't able to give him the attention he needed. In his previous home, he was an only pet and shows some aversion to other animals. However, he seems to enjoy the company of some of the female dogs at the shelter. Lucio also lived with some kids, and the kennel staff knows him to be a sweet, affectionate boy, making him well suited to a home with larger or older kids. But he would do best in a household without cats. At 3 years old, Rochelle is still behaving like a younger kitten. She is active and playful, even more so when she's able to roll around in one of her favorite things, catnip. Although she's not much of a lap cat, preferring to have all 4 paws on the ground when possible, she still enjoys receiving attention by getting pet from head to tail. Rochelle would fit well into most homes with or without other pets or kids, just as long as the kids don't try to tote her around the house. Surrendered to the shelter after his family had a new baby, 4-year-old Ace also came with a few problems with his eyes. While able to see, his vision was limited, but thankfully he was quickly diagnosed with chronic dry eye and has been treated with medical drops. Due to his continual limited vision, Ace has not taken to most of the other dogs, despite living with one previously. However, as his eyes improved, he has shown more and more promise with other animals. Ace is a big, lovable man that enjoys nothing more than the company of people, but he would likely still do best in a home with older kids, as quick movements can make him jumpy. Arriving as a stray in May of 2013, 4-year-old Ashley adjusted quickly to shelter life and has been patiently awaiting the right family to adopt her. She's often seen sitting at the window in the cat socialization room where she loves to perch on the cat tree, watching the world outside. While staff knows her to be a gentle, kind soul, Ashley has a little trouble making new friends after watching people come and go so frequently over the years, and can come off a little shy initially. Due to this, she'd be happiest in a quiet family, with older children that share her mellow outlook on life. Arriving as a stray, 9-year-old Rocky was a laid-back boy that didn't really show much of his personality at first. Mostly, he just laid around in his kennel and wandered aimlessly around the fenced-in yards. Now he's a spunky, outgoing boy who'll greet everyone he sees with a big smile and wag of a tail. He's even made several canine friends that play with him in the yards. However, he isn't partial to cats, making him best suited to a home without felines, though he would likely do well with kids of all ages. Gavin was found wandering the streets as a stray and brought to the shelter. At 4 years old, he's been understandably nervous, starting off in a new environment, but he's been coming into his own slowly but surely. While still somewhat uncomfortable being carried, hugging your arm or clinging to your shoulder for stability, he's quite the Casanova while all 4 paws are on the ground. He'll nuzzle into your hand and purr loudly in response to your attention. He's also beginning to play with toys, showing off his spunky side. Gavin would do best in a home with older or calmer kids, but wouldn't mind other cats. Upon arriving as a stray, Harrington was in rough shape. he was covered head to toe in abrasions that vets believed were caused by a run-in with a car. Starting off weak and emaciated, Harrington was turned into a strong, happy boy that loves to be loved. He wiggles in excitement so forcefully that sometimes he loses control of his back end, giving the appearance of having a mind of its own. Due to his overall size and energy, a home with bigger kids would be the best fit, and he would likely do well with other dogs that can match his size and vigor. Abandoned in a box at a local park, 2-year-old Gibby arrived at the shelter with dreams of finding a better future. Initially very angry and resentful due to her previous situation, Gibby has slowly learned to trust again. She's adjusting well to shelter life and enjoys to sit on her cat perch, watching the world through the window. Gibby is the type of cat that chooses her companions carefully, instantly becoming affectionate, laid-back cat with those she likes. Looking for a quiet home where she can take things at her own pace, Gibby would prefer a household without other cats or children. 3-year-old Izzy was adopted briefly from the shelter and found herself back after the other animals in the home weren't getting along. A peppy girl with a true love of water, she often tries to help staff in the morning by splashing in the kiddie pools while they're being filled and dunking her head into the water buckets. She's friendly and outgoing, and she gets excited when asked to go for a walk, making her a perfect companion for someone who wants a jogging buddy or likes to take long walks. Izzy might be too much for smaller or younger kids due to her energy and level of play, and would do best as an only pet. Found as a stray, 1.5-year-old Mama has already had a litter of kittens and watched as they all went to good homes. Now she's patiently waiting for it to be her turn. After dealing with her rambunctious babies, she understandably prefers to have some peace and quiet, so a home without young kids and other cats would be ideal for her. Affectionate overall, she'll let you know when she wants attention and when she's had enough, showing off her catitude side. Arriving as a stray, 1-year-old Godric still has a lot of puppy left in him. Upon arriving, he already knew most of his basic commands. He just has some trouble focusing at times to perform them, as he's busy wanting to garner your attention. Playful and spunky, Godric appears to like some other dogs, just as long as they want to play as much as he does. However, he would not be well suited for a home with cats, or a home with very small kids, as he might knock them around too much, despite his sweet nature. 3-year-old Trixie is as unique as her name, with a style and a way about her that's all her own. Though she initially comes across on the shy side, she usually won't object to being picked up and doesn't mind some time curled up on your lap for a brush or a cheek massage. She does well with other cats, though she often allows them to take the lead, hanging back and watching what they do first. Since arriving as a stray, staff has noticed that she's shocked by a sudden change in environment, but settles into routines well. This means that Tootsie would do best in a quieter home, and that she'll need a bit of patience upon adoption until she becomes comfortable with the new daily schedule. When she first arrived as a stray, 4-year-old Shirley was noticeably skinny, and she was in need of a bath, but her sweet temperament made it clear that she was happy to be taken care of. Quickly settling into shelter life, she fell into step with the routines, yet hasn't shown much positive interest in other animals around her, making her best suited as an only pet. Shirley would also do best in a home with older kids. Even though she's a lovable girl, she isn't always willing to share things. 9-year-old Zoey found herself at the shelter when a family member developed allergies. However, that hasn't dampened her spirits, as she's as social and outgoing as ever. Not one to shy away from people or food, she's a big girl with a big heart that doesn't mind being picked up, held, or petted. But sometimes she can be overly zealous when it comes to showing her affection and gives little love bites, making her best suited for a home with older kids. Since she plays with other cats at the shelter, she wouldn't mind sharing her home with them. However, she does not appreciate the company of dogs. Adopted over 2 years ago, 5-year-old Luger was returned to the shelter when his owners no longer had enough time to devote to him. While he can come across as overly rambunctious while in his kennel, Luger is worth the time to see in a social space where he can reveal his true disposition, an easygoing lover. While Luger could settle in well with kids of most ages, he would do best in a home with no other animals, as he prefers all your attention for himself. An older girl at just around 7 years, Lily is fairly laid back, taking leisurely strolls around the socialization room. She doesn't mind the company of other cats, as long as they aren't overly rambunctious, and the same is true of kids. If they're older and on the calmer side, she likely wouldn't mind sharing her home with them. Overall social, she does have her catitude moments where she would prefer some time to herself, though will quickly settle down and return to being a friendly kitty once again. Join us for Giving Tuesday, November 29th. Help raise money for the Butler County Humane Society. Tell your server you are dining to support the Butler County Humane Society, and 20% of dine-in and carry-out sales will be donated. Plus, let's fill the pet pantry. Bring pet food from November 22nd through November 29th in support of the Pet Food Drive at Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza beside the UPMC Lemieux Complex. Found as a stray, this handsome 2-year-old boy, Sampson, quickly drew in many admirers with his charm and poise. While a strong dog, mostly muscle, he walks well on a leash, always checking in with you and making sure you're pleased with his behavior. However, that muscle shows when he plays, specifically with other dogs. Due to this, he would do best with other dogs that could match his size, and he would also do better with kids on the larger or older side, so he doesn't accidentally knock them over. Arriving as a stray in June 2012, Carmel grew from a young kitten into a 4-year-old adult at the shelter. Kennel life has taught her how to be independent and rely on herself, though it was obvious she had a mind of her own from the very beginning. While she appears subdued while in her cage, once she's out in the cat socialization room, she loves to run around and play keep away with the shelter staff. She's been known to play fetch from time to time with a toy mouse, carrying it back to her chosen human companion so that it can throw it again. Since she's uncertain with new faces, she'd do best in a home with older kids. Originally taken from a situation where he wasn't being properly cared for, 4-year-old Diesel was taken to another county shelter. But when they didn't have the available space for him, he was transferred back to the Butler County Humane Society. He arrived with skin irritation and patchy fur from a flea allergy that was left untreated in his former home. Despite the lack of attention he received in the past, Diesel is a happy, social boy that wants nothing more than to give love. He would likely fit well into most homes with most ages of kids and dogs, but prefers one without cats. 3-year-old long-haired Delaney arrived to the shelter with severe mats in her fur. After some TLC and a grooming session, she was looking and surely feeling much better. A lazy girl who prefers to lounge around, she can come across as aloof at times due to her independent streak. However, she's friendly with those she knows well, enjoying a gentle cheek rub or a scratch behind the ears. Delaney would prefer a home without young kids, especially since she likes to keep all 4 paws on the ground, but could do well with some other pets. Mia, a 2.5-year-old, still has plenty of puppy energy left. She frequently has a playmate that she runs around with in the fenced-in yards and enjoys chasing after toys, too. While she does well with most dogs, she doesn't play well with cats. Originally a stray, Mia was briefly adopted and returned due to being very wary of strangers. Due to this, she would do best in a quiet environment without small children, so she can settle in and feel secure, allowing her to be the sweetheart that staff and her volunteer friends know her to be. Adopted and then returned after some time due to the health of his owner, 13-year-old Smokey certainly doesn't act his age. He may not be a pounce-and-play kitten, but he still has plenty of pep, especially when it's feeding time. While he's a friendly, generally outgoing man, Smokey would prefer a home without other pets, and also one with older kids, or kids on the calmer side, so he can relax during his golden years. An overall terrific dog, 5-year-old Buddy was transferred from an overcrowded shelter in West Virginia. The first to run up to you and hop right into your arms, he is the definition of a happy hound. Though he seems reserved while in his kennel, he is much more social when out, and he is more than happy to go for walks. He even walks rather well on a leash. Buddy has also made several canine friends, looking even happier than normal when he comes back inside after some time romping around outside with his doggy friends. With people, he sometimes jumps up while playing, but due to his overall demeanor, he would fit well into most homes. At 3 years old, Dapple is a petite girl, but she has a big, welcoming heart. Starting off nervous upon arriving at the shelter, she slowly came out of her shell with the help of other more outgoing cats. After that, it was her turn. She took newer, scared cats and helped them to settle in faster. With people, Dapple can be shy to warm up, but once she knows you, she will greet you with the cutest of meows and begin to rub on your leg, hoping for some affection in return. Every now and then, she reverts back to that shy girl when too much activity is going on around her, making Dapple best suited to a home with older kids on the calmer side. Transferred from a shelter in West Virginia, 3-year-old Spot has proven to be quite the intelligent boy, keeping staff on their toes. While he doesn't appear to enjoy spending time in his kennel, mainly due to the fact that he's able to climb out and bounces and barks a lot, he's a calmer, well-mannered man while outside of his cage. He knows several commands and walks well on leashes. He's also quite the sweetheart, oftentimes wanting to sit on your lap to give kisses. Spot has the potential to fit in well in most home environments with children over the age of 10, just as long as there are no cats. Unlike Pandora's box, this 4-year-old girl is full of nothing but love. Arriving at the shelter as a stray, Pandora has never shown an aversion to people. In fact, she will usually start rubbing on your leg in greeting, showing you that she wants some of your attention. Since her arrival, she has gotten along with several other cats, though she would need one that won't roughhouse too much. The same is true of people, as she prefers calm kids that will handle her gently, making Pandora a well-rounded addition to most homes, with or without kids or other pets. A transfer from an overcrowded shelter, 3-year-old Jackson is making quite the transformation from the scared, uncertain dog he was when he initially arrived. Though he still has progress to make, he is coming out of his shell, becoming more curious of new people, and with the help of some fellow companions, Jackson is running around the fenced-in yards like the bold, confident dog staff knows he can be. In his kennel, he continues to act afraid, likely due to startling easily with sudden loud noises. This makes him best suited to a home without active or younger kids. Arriving at the shelter as a stray, 2-year-old Betsy is understandably scared after facing the unknown alone. While a sweet and friendly girl, she's often found curled up comfortably in her cage where she feels most secure. There, she happily accepts affection and will even reciprocate with a slight purr. During the brief time that she ventured out into the open, she prefers the heights of the cat condos or a dose of catnip to boost her confidence. It could just be that the hustle and bustle of shelter life is a lot for her to handle, but staff would recommend a calmer home environment for Betsy, where she could come out of her shell more, possibly with another cat. 6-year-old Louise is a rambunctious and spirited lady that spent her entire life here at the shelter. Though she arrived at our shelter in June of 2010 as a young kitten, she was somehow overlooked by visitors, and she is continuing to wait patiently for her forever home. Very playful, with a love of catnip, Louise can be described as a forever kitten, refusing to act her age. Instead, she chases after a multitude of toys, but she can sometimes get lost in the game and play a little bit rough, making her best suited for a household with older children and no other cats.